So who else do we want to zoom in on in terms of a player on the field and their performance?
There's one more player, and I think the one thing that Steven Glass may have done that could be a huge improvement. So remember under Tata, one of the things that he did is just had Remedi sit in front of the back four. And for God only knows what reason, De Boer had these crazy schemes. You often saw Remedi even advanced up the field further than Nogby, for example. And one of the things that was very different already in this game is that Remedi was once again sitting in front of the back four. And
Yeah.
that should make us defensively more solid and go from defense to offense a little better. Because he was brilliant in that role, and in my opinion, really awful in the role that De Boer gave to him.
Oh, I agree with you. Another thing that could have been my rant too, is the tackle by Meza that ended up being a yellow card. What were your thoughts on that? And the commentators really summed it up as far as I was concerned. I was like, if you're going to take tackles like that out of the game, maybe this isn't a game I want to watch anymore. I mean, you can't take defense out. He was 100% through the ball on that, and yeah,
Yeah,
he
got the
got
ball.
the leg second on a fabulously timed tough tackle. Hey,
This is very classic MLS refereeing, which
yeah,
is, I think, too many of the MLS referees really didn't play enough. Well, I don't know if it's play enough, but you get the feeling, why are the Premier League and the European referees so much better than the
yeah,
MLS? And I think it's day in and day out growing up around the game, watching it all the time, and you get to realize that, that tackle, not only is just part of the game, but one of the things you get a sense for as a referee, a good referee, is what the players want and what the players don't want. And I agree with you completely that any player, barring some Neymar role or whatever, who's being honest, wants that tackle in the game as being legal. But if you don't grow up watching games in and day out, you have to fall back much more on the letter of the law. Did he get in a little bit of his foot or whatever, instead of saying, what is it that we want the game to be? What do we want to be illegal, and what do we want to be legal, and what the players want? Like, if you as a referee make a call that nobody was going to be upset if you didn't make a call, then it's a bad call, right? The play should go on. The players should own the game at some level, right? And it doesn't mean the players always get what they want, but
yeah.
but if you consensus amongst the players that certain things should be allowed, and I think if you got the majority of people, they would say that tackle belongs in the game.
Yeah. I agree. And don't get me wrong. I mean, it was a tough call on the field. It was a bang, bang play. And it was certainly on the cusp of being a bad tackle, but it wasn't. And to your point, I think, yeah, that is something that with more hours as a ref, you need to get right. All
And the
right.
referee caused the skirmish on the sideline with Bello too by just making a horrendous, throw-in call,
Yeah.
which you would say, oh, who cares? And the players should be better about it. But players are fighting all the time. And if you get something as simple as a throw-in call completely wrong, which he did, and it was so obvious, it makes players angry.
Yeah.
You got to get those things right when they're that obvious. Obviously, sometimes it's a bang bang, it's impossible, and the players will forgive you for that. But when it's that obvious, you get that angry reaction, right? And you should know it, right,
Yeah.
when it happens.
I mean, there was a lot of frustration because of that on the field. I mean, you could sense it big
Mhm.
time, especially with no fans in the field. You were just feeling that boiling up from all the players, and luckily they didn't let that take over completely. They were able to keep their heads and get the win. All right, thanks for listening. If anybody actually made it this far in the podcast, we'd love to hear your feedback on Twitter at ATL On Fire, and tell your friends to subscribe. We are on iTunes, Google Play, and really any sort of podcast platform that you're on.